What do you think about the intensity from your teammates out there? Was there enough in the game? Did they give enough, do you think?
What you mean? Your question of my teammates?
I can't say. I am the referee, I'm not the coach.
It looks good. He likes it. Nigel Owen's arm goes up. And Ireland have stolen the game right at the death.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Charge Down with me, Rob, Dave and Neil. So it's a big week, Six Nations week, and we're all very excited. But before we get into that, we're going to talk about Leinster versus Scarlets, the last match we were at. It's a bit of a dour enough affair. Leinster obviously got the win in the end. Do you have any thoughts, guys?
Well, I remember I went in, like, the lads always asked me about the matches and like the Monday after or whatever, and I was like obviously disappointed, but then I thought about it, I questioned it. I was like, is this not just a testament to the arrogance of the average Leinster fan?
It's great
that we get like a decent enough win against a team that we're pretty good, and then we're all mopey about it. Like, I mean, a win's a win, and it wasn't exactly like 9-3 where we got a penalty in the 82nd minute and just scraped it. Like, it was convincing-ish considering the players we had. Like, what, you had Frawley at 10, he's unproven. You had an unproven second row partnership. You had these two random second rows on the bench who I'd literally never heard of and can't even recall their names right now.
Dowling, wasn't it? And
Oisin Dowling?
Yeah.
And who was the other guy?
Was it Oisin Heffernan?
No, it was Dowling, and then there was another guy called Jack Dunn,
Yes.
I think.
We need to start buying the programmes. I need to start buying them. So, I mean, like, considering the context, I know Scarlets would have been depleted as well with the Six Nation camps and all that. But, yeah, it's...
Yeah, I'm happy enough with the results. It pretty much guarantees us top place if it was ever in doubt. But
like, look at the... compare it to, say, top football clubs in the Premier League or whatever. If Liverpool or Man City get a 1-0 win against,
yeah,
I don't know...
It's the result.
Yeah. They don't mope about getting a narrow 1-0. So why should we hold ourselves any different? Like, it just makes the inevitable downfall of Leinster harder to stomach. Because you can't be top forever. Like,
You can, Dave, and we will.
well, we haven't been, because Toulon came up and then Saracens came up. So it's inevitably going to
They're
happen
gone
again.
now. They'll never hurt us again.
We blamed all that on Matt O'Connor.
Even the stuff that happened before and after him.
But there could be another Matt O'Connor at some point. Like,
To be the fall guy.
yeah. I mean, it just says so much that I don't even remember the score. It's probably something like 24-13 or something. And
No, they had a chance to win at the end. It was like...
did they?
Yeah.
Oh shit!
We were cruising at the end. It was like 22 points to 7... No, 22 points to 10 at the end. And they scored a try and a penalty. Or maybe it was 2 tries without conversion. I have no idea, to be honest. It's completely blanked out of my mind. But they had a chance to win it at the end. They had the possession and they lost it and we kicked it away. It was probably a match we probably should have lost. Like they
Well, you know what frustrated me actually, and I feel like this is a legitimate frustration that I'm entitled to have as a fan, was that I expected some of the younger lads to actually take the opportunity and put their stamp on the game. Which you say Rob Penny made a fuckload of tackles. Scott Penny.
Penny's a coach.
I know, it's so bad. But I just expected like people to run with the opportunity more, sort of thing.
Get a young lad to take your job.
Yeah, Jesus.
Some 16-year-old podcaster. Eager for money.
He wouldn't have to do much to do a better job than me, that's for sure.
I thought the senior players were worse than the younger players. But like we've kind of got a bit lucky so far, like with our teams, that we send out the kids and they hammer people. Like sometimes it happens where it's just disjointed performance, they're just not ready and they're not used to combinations. But Scarlets themselves were also disjointed and they knocked on a lot of ball. We just wasted it.
A lot of questions asked of Rob Kearney after that match.
He wasn't good, and he missed. It was even worse. He missed an obvious tackle. He was kind of put on the spot for that, or for a couple of them, but like one of them was just he should have made it. Yeah.
To me, he's kind of transitioned into sort of a big game player. I don't think he can get up for them smaller games, because you see how passionate he is in the massive games.
Yeah.
You can see it etched on his face every minute. So I think if he's turned up to the URDS there, in fairness, it's good numbers for the crowd and all, but I just don't think he's into it. Like, you know what I
Could
mean?
cost him his place.
Yeah, could have cost him his place. He mightn't have been fully match fit. There's been questions of his fitness over the last few months, and so I don't know. I personally wouldn't have started him. Why would they have went with Rob Kearney in that sort of match? Just a bit of leadership.
Yeah, no, get it. Well, but yeah, that's too, but also get him.
Yeah, because he'd only
get
played
him
like
fresh
something like
forward.
20 something minutes or something
He hasn't
since.
played really since November.
Yeah.
Mm.
So,
Jack McGrath looks unfit as well.
yeah.
Not really question commitment to him, but it is just he's not ready yet.
Mm. Did one of yous intimate that we might not be seeing Rob Kearney starting or even on tour at the World Cup?
That was my bold prediction.
But you're right, like, you don't want him on the bench because
I don't. Yeah, I understand that, but I think Rob Kearney will be there in the World Cup.
I think
Unless
what if Henshaw has a stormer?
if this Henshaw thing goes well, Carney's in.
Yeah, Kearney's in
he's-
big trouble.
He's in the mix. Like he has to. He
Yeah.
almost has to show up.
Yeah, really show up.
Uh,
Like, I mean,
I still think you bring him as a second fullback, just for his leadership and the fact he wants someone that can slot in
yeah,
if Fencher goes down, which he has a poor injury profile.
yeah.
But it's probably to round up the Leinster match. Yeah, what more do you say?
well, Ross
Maloney,
Maloney, man of the match, like that's a rare occurrence if ever
I think
there
we
was.
went to look at the highlights or even the match again, and we just didn't. So we can't say how valid that was.
Who was it that we were calling for man of the match?
I
Barry Daly. He had a great match.
Yeah.
he's tackling
He was-
everyone, hitting rucks.
The energy of that man was palpable. Like, I was just impressed. In a match where no one stood up, to me, he just was like, I was rooting for him, not Leinster. He just wanted it so bad. He just faced there towards the end where Scarlets were attacking, and he put in like 3 or 4 big hits,
Yeah, and then started
solid,
hitting the
perfect hits. Like, and at like 80 minutes, to be having that sort of energy when you're not like a full starting player or whatever. I don't know. I think Barry Daly's cool.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's good to see him back.
Yeah, great. Punished Daly.
Yeah,
as
he
we
wasn't
call
great
him.
in the previous week. Well, it was only his first game back in a long while. Since the very first minutes of, or very first half of the season, I think. And the other matches for the Irish clubs were pretty poor as well.
They were terrible. I watched all of the Munster Dragons game. And
Jesus,
I regret-
I had it recorded, and I saw the score somewhere, and I was like, no, I'm not putting myself through that.
They
That
got the
worked.
win, but it was a lucky win, and it was a terrible match from all accounts.
Ulster drew 17-0 at Treviso.
20-0, I think.
I think it was 17-0.
17.
Okay, 70-0.
I think Treviso would have won, but for a last-minute penalty.
Yeah,
as
dodgy
well.
enough penalty from what I heard.
Yeah.
But that's great for Treviso. It means they probably will get
Champions
playoffs,
Cup.
Yeah.
and Champions Cup.
Yeah.
It's second versus third, isn't it? In
Yeah.
the second of their division,
Yeah.
so probably against Munster, maybe. No, so they'd probably be against Connacht or something.
Could be Connacht, could be Cardiff.
Yeah,
So
so that could be at home. They could win that.
Yeah.
Is there an Irish out half going to Treviso? Or am I mixing up Ian Keatley going to London Irish? Was there a rumour?
He's going to
London Irish?
Treviso.
he is going to London Irish for the rest of the season. And then
Okay.
he's going to Treviso.
Okay, that's where I heard that, yeah.
So it's unusual then that like a player mid-season is changing clubs.
Munster are flying out half, so
Yeah, that's mad how he dropped down the order so quickly.
yeah. Was
But-
it 2 years ago he's playing against Italy.
Yeah,
Consistency was his biggest
Yeah.
issue. Like,
yeah. Well, last year he started the semi-final for them against Racing, and now he's moved on.
Yeah.
That's
I
a
mean,
quick turnaround.
you need to be consistent in Joe Smith's Ireland. That's
Yeah.
his thing. Like, I wonder if you'd see maybe going forward with Conor O'Shea over as the director of rugby in Italy. Would more Irish players be moving over there? Maybe sort of these Nagel, Keatley types. I know Keatley's a bit above Nagel.
It
But
was only 2 clubs, and
if Treviso start hitting heights, could be a bit of a draw there.
yeah. But what kind of player is good enough to get a starting spot then in Treviso?
Leo Auva. There you go. There you go.
Papers everywhere, I think.
No, I think it was Treviso.
Well,
I might be wrong with
let,
that.
let the viewers look that up.
Alright, I think.
And Connacht.
And Connacht played a terrible game against Cardiff as well, and they lost. So
Poor Connacht.
I think we'll leave that there and we'll go on to the big stuff. We already kind of touched on it. So the Six Nations obviously kicks off now in 40 minutes. So talk a little bit about Wales France. I've seen some stats thrown around that this is the heaviest pack. France are putting in the heaviest pack that's ever taken the field.
I don't think I've seen heavier packs myself, to be honest.
Yeah.
I remember seeing 1,000 KG Pax. Although someone said that there might be like a French club team, like a La Rochelle or something, has packs that heavy. It's a big pack of forwards. But I think Wales are probably one of the best teams to deal with that. Like Wales will tackle you all day long, and I think Wales will have enough to beat France.
Yeah, it should be a good game. I'm hoping for a good open game.
Fireworks, booze in the crowd, the brass band.
What is it with France's attraction to size, especially in the forwards?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it's like-
is it that they just can't maintain a fitness level whereby they are slightly smaller but fitter, so they just go, all right, screw it, get heavier, and we'll take you off. It's fine.
The French league is so grueling. You need a big pack of forwards. I mean, essentially, you need 2 packs of forwards to contest the top. So it's better just to be big, like having to carry a bit more kilos, than be leaner and get overpowered. Because you're playing so many matches, and you play so many matches in a short amount of time. At the end of it in La Barrage,
What's La Barrage?
It's what they call the knockout stages. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because you could be playing, it's 4 quarterfinals, I think.
Yeah.
Then quarterfinals, semi-finals, and then final if you get there. Plus anything in Europe you're in as well.
You know, like the French national team frustrate me almost as much as the club teams, because like look at the talent, it's crazy, and yet they could come out and home or away, they could come out and just be the best team in the world or like terrible.
Yeah, that's France.
But
Usually in the same game, they can have flashes of real
Ten
brilliance,
class.
and then they can have absolutely dire.
how do you even solve that? Is it a culture thing? Is it a coaching thing?
It's belief. Like if they start winning games, they'll get a bit more belief and they start rocking from that. But it's just like they've changed players every year. Like the team changes every
I
year.
saw that there was like a 60% turnover rate or something like that, something ridiculous from the last Six Nations to this one in terms of the
And the
squad.
next game they'll probably change it again. The
But who's doing this? Like,
succession of French coaches. That's what they're doing.
do they all have some sort of like mental
They don't know
condition?
what their top team is. And they just keep changing it. And the same mistakes come in again. And yet they rarely get hammered in the Six Nations.
No.
Like they seem to drag themselves through games when they should lose. I think Wales, was it Wales they lost controversially? Sorry, did Wales controversially beat them with the? Sorry, did France beat Wales controversially with the headed?
Yes,
Was that last
that
year?
was
I
about
think that was 2 years
15,
ago.
15 minutes into
Oh, so that
the.
was 2 years ago in the previous.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Antonio will do it again. He's good for it another time.
Yeah.
If it happens again, though, they couldn't possibly try it again.
They did it like in the game after or something.
Yeah. Remember the Toulouse game?
Yeah.
It was Antonio again, wasn't it?
No, it was Jerome Kino. Or
No.
There was 2 incidents.
Yeah,
there was the
there
Jerome
was two.
Kino one.
Kino was just getting substituted.
Yeah.
And the ref thought it was a head injury
Yeah,
assessment.
yeah.
He was actually just getting subbed.
Yeah.
And there was the tight head prop.
Antonio, who about 5 minutes before half time, I think about 10 minutes before half time, he took a knee. They were fiddling with his head or whatever. The ref asked was it a HIA. They said no. He played on for another 5 minutes, and then he went off for a
He
HIA.
took that hit earlier on the half as well. He's down like 3 times during the half at least.
And we were all like, "Oh God, he's definitely going to come back on because this is just absolutely a rest." And I might even venture to say this might be a bit scurrilous, but they were like, "Oh crap, they're going to find us out, so let's just keep him off rather than like bring him back on because it'd be so obvious that they're just resting him if they were to bring him back on." Like, one thing I noted about the French team was the lack of Dupont.
Yeah, big. That's a big call. They're going to Para and Saran.
That to me is now maybe it's just that I'm only exposed to Dupont because he was in Leinster's group with Toulouse, but like he's a great player to be leaving out. I'd almost want him as our backup 9 ahead of whoever it is.
I would have picked him as being one of the players to watch before the.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
He's,
like, oh, we did that. We look like idiots.
Yeah.
we're not idiots. The France selection team are idiots. Like, okay, Lopez doesn't take the kicks, does he?
No, it'll be Para.
To me, that's the only reason why Dupont isn't there. If they had a kick in 10, I think Dupont would be starting.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you want to be carrying on like that. Like, Para's getting on, isn't he? He's like 30 at this point.
I was older than that. He's young enough when Leinster played him in 2010. I think he was like 21 then. So
I could be very wrong about this, but doesn't Dupont take kicks as well?
I
Maybe
think he
oh,
does.
that probably all.
maybe it's that he's inconsistent or Para's just super consistent.
Maybe.
Para has that leadership aspect as well. Yeah, from La Petite Generale, is that what they say?
Yeah.
The ability to dive.
They want that leadership at 9.
I'm trying to find this French team. And Irish Times let me down, but
I can call any position out for you because I've memorised it
I
off
know
by
they're
heart.
all Bastro, but what's the centres looking like?
Their centre is Entamac at 12 and Fofana at 13.
Fofana's retiring.
I feel Fofana's another weird call. Again, I haven't been watching much of Claremont this year, but surely, there must be a better 13 out there. I was trying to look up stats on the bloody top 14 website. It was all in French, so I was just like, what the hell with this? It was showing me like 2 seasons ago or something, the table, and I was just like, this is horribly useless information.
You could have brought that to the meeting and.
I'm being horribly wrong about everything. It said like Toulon were top, which they're absolutely not.
So I say Wales to narrowly win that game. If we're making predictions,
I'm gonna say France purely because the size thing. I'm looking at the Welsh forwards here, and I think they're quite slight. So I feel they could ship a few injuries or whatever. France seem to like to do that, don't they? Bully it physically.
Yeah, that's what they want. That's why they have the heavy pack.
Like, look at the back row here. Wales, Navidi, Moriarty, Topuric.
That is quite small.
Yeah.
Moriarty's physical enough, but like Topuric and
Man,
Navidi,
Ross.
yeah, he's gonna be strangling a few folk.
There's a video that got released this week where it was like Ross Moriarty, rugby's biggest thumb.
Biggest.
This guy's made a couple of videos like that where
He is Lavini, the Argentina second row. I love that video.
Oh man, he's vicious. Like that.
He's one to get the vote for.
I think he's done videos on Liam Williams, Owen Farrell, and players of that ilk.
Just dragging them through the mud. Who is this Welsh scrum half? T. Williams.
Tomas Williams.
Yeah.
Who does he play for? Blues,
I think it's
Ospreys.
Blues, yeah.
I've never heard of him. Must only have a few caps.
I think I would say that the Welsh players are going to be a lot. I don't know. I think they'll last longer because
Yeah, they're fitter.
they're fitter
Well,
and also that they haven't had any work to do all year. They've been kind of freewheeling in the Pro 14 and made no impact in Europe.
You might be right about that, but I just think France are gonna kind of murder them. I think they're gonna brutalise them to such an extent that fitness won't matter. You know what I mean?
That's what they're hoping for. Like that's the game. If Wales survive that, they'll win.
Why are they going with Fofana at 13 and not Bastro then?
Oh, yeah.
He's the ultimate battering ram to just ruin
Maybe
people.
they want a bit of skill out the back as well.
I suppose, yeah. It's a good mix there of skillful backs and...
They see Demba Bamba at Loosehead there.
Who?
He's only like 20 years old. He played for the under-20s team that won the World Cup. Same
Is he the really heavy guy?
He's not overly heavy. No. The tight end's the 150 kg.
Okay, yeah.
And one of their locks is like 135 kg as well. He's not particularly heavy, like overly heavy for a prop.
So, Rob, what's your prediction for Wales, fan?
A draw.
I'd go hopefully with a close French win.
Actually, yeah, looking from the Ireland perspective, who do we want to win?
I'd probably
Not
want
who we
France
think
to
will
win
win.
because France have to go away to us and England.
Yeah.
So they're unlikely to win the tournament.
Yeah, and even going into this tournament, I think me and a lot of other people, probably you guys as well, would be thinking Wales would be our...
Wales or
Closest.
England, depending how this match against us goes.
Yeah, so I hope France win, and I think France will win.
Alright. So the other game on tomorrow is Scotland Italy.
What are you doing?
I hate this match.
Why? Scotland are good now.
I generally hate the Italy matches when Ireland aren't playing, but I
Oh,
liked this match a few years ago. It's like one team, whoever could win, like you
Yeah.
never know.
Wouldn't get the wooden spoon. The wooden spoon decider. I'm excited to see Scotland.
I think Scotland will have a big performance in Six Nations, but just lack the players to, like, number of players, I should say, to have consistent.
Look at these guys: Blair Kinghorn, Hugh Jones, Stuart Hogg. They'll be sweating that.
Listen,
Finn Russell at 10, like.
You see, that's what I'm saying. They have the ability to win a game. They don't have the ability to win a tournament, I think, because you need to perform every game pretty much.
Yeah. I want to see some flashy stuff out of them. Finn Russell tries some crazy
Finn
stuff.
Russell throw intercept pass, and the next match you'll see him winning with a crazy pass. Like essentially what he did against us, he threw an intercept pass, and then the week before or was the week after,
Week after, I think he
threw a great pass against England.
Yeah.
But the stat that I've stolen shamelessly from the 10-40 14 rugby is they haven't won an away game since 2010. If you discount Italy.
And
That was Ireland.
It was Ireland in Croke Park in the last game in Croke Park.
Quite surprised to hear that because I feel like they've been decent enough the last few years. wherein they could have.
Oh, they can win games at home.
That's what I mean though. I'm surprised that they haven't been winning away because they've been impressing me within the last 4 years. Like I would have thought they could have taken it off someone. France even, like, you know, you think they'd just not show up one time and instead. Is that the name of their stadium?
Stade de France.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, Stade de France. Yeah.
But I'm looking here at the team. What's the idea of having a vice captain and a captain?
Oh, they just have. Generally, they might put like a vice captain in the forwards or the backs, depending where the captain is. So just maybe he'll be the person to give the baton to when they sub off the captain, perhaps, or just another thing of leadership. Some you don't see most teams doing it. Some do.
My top pick here for your fancy rugby team, if you're looking for solid fancy rugby.
Yeah.
Well, first off, you always pick a back against the team for the team against Italy. Yes, Blair Kinghorn, boys. He's gonna tear it up. Guarantee you.
Big lad.
Yeah.
He's rangy. He reminds me of Johnny May.
Yeah.
He's quite has an eye for a try. He reminds me of Stockdale a bit as well.
He's up there with the size.
Mm.
I can see the size comparison.
But I think him and Russell will be tearing up that Italian backfield defence.
Yeah. Parise will hit the record amount of Six Nations appearances, I believe.
All right.
Who holds the old record?
O'Driscoll.
Oh, really? That's cool. Sad for O'Driscoll, but I'm sure.
He's happy enough losing. He said to someone that good. Well, that's what he said publicly. He's probably crying at home.
Bitter old O'Driscoll. I hate them all.
Do Italy have any hope?
Yes, but not very much. Scotland are big favourites and deservedly so. It'd be great for Italy if they did get the win, but I just don't see it happening, and I think they'll end this Six Nations winless.
Is the match in Italy or Scotland?
In Scotland.
Okay, I don't really think Italy have much of a chance then, to be honest. Like Scotland with Edinburgh are starting to get this winning mentality, I feel. Like Scottish rugby in the last few years, and now Edinburgh starting to kick on. Glasgow as well have been solid, maybe not so much this year, but in previous years.
Still
So
top their division in the.
Probably.
They managed to get out of their group, in fairness.
There you go. So like I feel Scotland are almost like us a while ago, whereby we started to get that self-belief sort of thing. I feel like they're at a pivotal stage now where it could go really well or quite badly. They should be looking to challenge though, like.
Yeah, I just don't think, as I said before, they have enough.
Depth.
The game plan is just too wild to win consistently. Like, okay, they can maybe beat anyone on their day.
Yeah, I get what you're
But
saying.
like, can they beat England? Can they beat Wales? Can they beat us and France? Like, it's very hard to do that.
It would be a bit of a dream run to see them doing that. Like you can't imagine them
They haven't won in England, I think, in the Six Nations.
ever.
Quite possibly.
And they're away to England this.
Yeah, they just have a terrible record in England. It's just they just get hammered there more times than they're close.
They probably get too hyped up and burn themselves out early on or
Quite
something,
possibly.
or else they just have been shit.
You know.
Bit of a
They'll miss Hamish Watson.
yeah.
One of the big ones.
I've seen him be described as the best Northern Hemisphere 7.
Probably far off, to be honest.
Really?
Far off.
On what like?
He's a very good player.
I know he's a good player, but I
Harry's
wouldn't call him
not
the best.
Who'd you say is better?
This is where it gets tricky.
Historically, Sam Warburton,
Yeah,
but he's
not, at
retired.
the moment, the last couple of seasons. I'd say like Levy the last couple of seasons if we're saying, but Levy hasn't done anything this season. Although Hamish Watson is injured. It's not an outrageous claim.
What about Justin Tafuri?
I've always liked Tipper,
Yeah.
but he just doesn't get played that often.
I mean, now he does because Warburton's retired, but maybe it's because he doesn't. The Welsh regions don't perform that well.
But the Scottish regions don't perform that well either. So
He's
why?
played that for him.
Yeah, I understand he's played well, but if you're basing this statement
Yeah,
on
the thing is, both Scottish teams got out of their groups, while the Welsh teams didn't.
Yeah.
And only two of them were playing in the Time Cup.
The big one, yeah.
So we're on to the big one.
Yep, so
Sorry, I'll say Scotland to win, obviously.
Yep, yeah, I'd go with Scotland to win. I'd hope. Maybe Italy can do something, make it interesting,
Yeah.
but I'd still say Scotland to win.
yeah, Scotland to win handily enough.
So then we move on to the very big one, Ireland versus England in the Aviva. I think we'll start by looking at the big call that Joe Smith's made during the week, where he's put Henshaw at 15 and Carney drops out of the team altogether.
I feel like this is weird from Joe.
I think
'Cause
it's very
it's
unfair.
out of
left
character.
field,
Yeah.
he has played there for Connacht, and that's his favourite position, he says. And he played well at Connacht, and he played one game there last year for Leinster, if I remember, Scarlet's game at home.
No, the stats I've seen is he played a bit against Treviso at fullback because Carney got injured or someone got injured. So
But-
Um,
Like, to me, Joe is like this rock of stability.
Yeah.
He has everything planned out years in advance, sort of thing. Like, this seems like a bit of a panic sort of
I
maneuver.
don't think it's a panic. I think it's a bit kind of worrying that we don't have much depth at fullback. But Carney's not either not 100% or he's not ready to play. Whatever. Or maybe Smith doesn't think he's
Or maybe
enough.
looking at it from a different perspective, it could be a case that he sees Henshaw and Aki as two incredibly talented players, and he wants them
Yeah.
both on the field at the same
that
time.
can be it.
And
Rather
Ringrose.
than-
I think
I mean,
Ringrose is you're
yeah.
slotting in at 13.
Ringrose would walk into any
And I
team.
think Aki is ahead of Henshaw. But Henshaw is such a good player that you want him in the team
Yeah.
somewhere. So
I think this is the first time all three of them have been fit at the same time.
yeah.
So it's
So I think they have been fit at the same time, but it was during like the autumn internationals where you were rotating the team anyway, and
Yeah.
then someone gets injured, so you don't have a choice to make. But I think for Six Nations, it's definitely the first time.
I saw Joe saying that they've actually been practicing with Rob Henshaw at fullback since at least Australia.
Yeah.
They've been running them. I'm wondering if this could be like, is Joe trying to avoid us being complacent and maybe seeing if we can evolve a bit more before the World Cup? Because if you pick Rob Kearney, no one would any complaints or
Well, Munster fans would have
Well,
complaints,
yeah.
but they always complain.
Yeah, it's interesting. It could be just a kick up the arse of Rob Kearney as well. It could be saying, well, this guy's going to our World Cup. Let's see if he can cover another position. Maybe he gets a bench spot then if Aki and Ringrose is our first choice centre.
But I thought you guys convinced me that this Six Nations there was no experimentation
Well,
ever.
no, so
You
people
win
were-
the Six Nations,
People
guys.
were
That's,
saying let's go crazy and change half the team. This is a settled team that we're changing
one at a
spot.
time.
And he's only 25. You can make that a long-term spot. For Leinster, you can means you play maybe one of the O'Briens, maybe a 12 or a Loughlin at 12.
so this is mastermind Joe Schmidt again, planning for the future.
Well, no, think about Leinster. I was just saying, problem. They've Carney at fullback, and you got Larmore. And Larmore could end up being a great fullback, but he's just not there at the moment.
I don't know.
I
I,
think, like,
I
but
just
you-
don't see Larmore as a fullback. Me personally, like the modern fullback is kind of like tall, rangy.
Yeah.
Larmore's small and wiry.
Well, no,
I see. I know you all.
Someone like Halfpenny isn't that tall, but he can get up to the ball. And he's always in the right spot. Or well, he used to be. He's kind of fallen off the last year or so. But those things will take time to.
Is Halfpenny injured currently? Because I remember Williams is going starting at fullback.
He's
So.
still knocked out from that late hit against Australia in November.
Yeah, he's been struggling with concussion.
Okay. So you think he would be starting for Wales if he was fit?
I haven't paid too much attention to Wales, but last few games I've seen him play, he hasn't been good.
Mm.
Now, of course, I could have missed games where he can turn it up, but he doesn't hit the high percentages he used to in his kicking game as well, which was a huge reason.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's what he was there included was the kicking
I
game.
think this is, aside from the start of Henshaw, I think this is a fairly expected team. We're
One-
seeing Dave Kilcoyne form rewarded,
Yeah.
as you said.
Is he in a good vein of form?
Yeah. The problem is, remember the USA game where he just puts his head down and carries.
That's all he can do.
Yeah.
Count how many times he passes
Yeah.
in that game.
That's why the reason he hasn't been in these these squads, because he's a great carrier, he's a good scrummager. Sometimes he does some dumb penalties, less so these days, but he just puts the head down. He's like, you need to pass that ball, and like Joe Smith doesn't care if you're a great scrummager and a carrier. You have to do more and more.
we need to get him running close to the line where their pass isn't on.
Yeah, that would be useful there. I think it'll be a good carrier. And the rest of the bench, Sean O'Brien back in the squad. Quinn Rue brought in. I think it's going to be a brutal game physically, so it makes sense to put him on the bench.
Do you?
I think it's going to be very, very physical.
I think what will happen in the first 5 minutes, Billy Vunipola and Manu Tuilagi will collide. Both injure each other, and then we'll just walk it from then on in.
I think they. I suppose before we go to the English team, let's finish up in the Irish team. Cooney on the bench. I suppose everyone else is injured, so. but he's done well to get there.
What about Van der Fleer at 7? I feel like 6 and 8 were always going to be Stander and O'Mahony,
Yeah.
but Van der Fleer.
The only well, Levy's out at the moment, and the only option you would have would be starting Sean O'Brien, which is a bit risky at the moment because he probably doesn't have a full game in him.
I don't know, Jordy Murphy.
Jordy Murphy's another one.
I was thinking before the team came out, I'd like to see Jordy included in some capacity. I'm a bit disappointed he's not.
He would be the next one on, I reckon. They must have happy enough with Sean O'Brien's fitness.
Yeah, he came off 50 minutes in the last game, didn't he?
He was gassed end, but he got bulldozer by Hughes.
To me, he looked very lively in the first 20, and after that, he was anonymous, I feel. I maybe would have risked starting O'Brien with Van der Fleer on the bench.
The problem is, though, someone else goes in.
Yeah,
If we had
true.
Henderson or Byrne, we could do that
Yeah,
on
true.
the bench, but without a second row can cover back row.
I think Schmidt likes Van der Fleer as well. I
Yeah,
feel he
works-
values that consistent work rate and always always tries. I never see the man's head dropping, like he's always up for a fight. So the England team?
Yeah, it's
The England team again, they've gone with the big call of fullback with Elliot Daly.
weird.
Ahead of who? Brown?
Or Noel or
Basically anyone
Yeah.
else. He's a well, he came into the team as a centre and wing, and now he's moving to fullback.
Yeah. And he's not good under the high ball.
Yeah.
But Noel's playing at 7, so what?
And they've actually picked a 7,
Tom Curry.
Curry.
which is unusual. From last season, they just wanted 3 second rows on the pitch. I think this is a very good pack. The set piece isn't that great. Their front row aren't renowned for their scrummaging, and
And
Hooker
they're
isn't the best thrower.
Jamie George.
No.
Where's Dylan Hartley? Has he been suspended?
No, I think he's just been
Just not in good form or injured maybe.
or arrested. Maybe arrested. Not for sure. They were arresting him for the autumn internationals. I'm not for sure if he's injured or not. To be honest.
I think we should try and an Irish gang plan here should be to try and rile up Kyle Sinclair. He's
Yeah.
good for a penalty or two, or a card even. You could get into his head quite easily,
Yes,
I feel.
definitely. But they have great ball carrying in that.
The entire team, yeah.
Because Vunipola have great hands as well as being good carriers. And I think they have enough players around them in the pack and in the backfield, as I said, so they won't be just targeted too heavily.
Do you know who I was surprised to see on the team was Henry Slade? He hasn't impressed me this season.
I don't think he's that great as an English player. I think he just misses too many tackles.
I think two problems I've noticed with him is, one, he grubber kicks too much, and two, he's bad with ball in hand. He knocks it on a lot or loses
I think that could
possession.
be just the games he saw.
No, maybe it is, but I feel like it seemed like a trend to me. You know, I don't like them grubber kicking the ball away unnecessarily.
The pack is quite good and balanced.
Actually-
back row. And all Saracens line out,
Yeah. The hooker.
second rows,
Prop.
and no, I was thinking more the Vunipola and
I feel like looking at the Henry Slade selection, he won't be required to carry that much with Tuolagi there, so he'll be getting onto the end of them
the thing
offloads.
is, if it doesn't work out for us, ring rows could end up tearing that central part of the arc, because Slade has missed a lot of tackles in his. I think it's nearly as much as he's made his international career. They're both in the teens, and Tuolagi is the 13. He's not an inside centre.
Yeah,
It's different. It's not just a crash up, but
So
I think their plan is to carry heavily into Sexton, into
Aki
and Murray as well if they can, to try and bash him to pieces. And then late game they can bring on Joel Ford. Maybe they said they're going to shift them out. They're going to have Ford, Farrell, and Slade. I think they said they want to try it during the match. But it's the back line's a bit disjointed. Like everyone seems to be in the wrong position. Or
even Ben Young's,
Ben Youngs isn't that. He's okay, but he has deficiencies. His game, his passing isn't that good, which is.
and I feel like that Leicester Stalk could be bringing him down. He's the only Leicester player. Oh no, there's Johnny May as well. Johnny May's always thereabouts. So,
Great box kicking though.
so you're saying this is a tactical pick? Ben Young's, they're going for some sort
England
of.
seem to always pick the scrum half who plays poorly for the first half or 50 minutes, and the scrum half comes on, plays well, gets a starting position next week, and then plays poorly until the replacement comes on and carries the game from there. If they keep Vunipola fit, and if they manage to not get killed in the air and hold their midfield defence together, this could be a very tight game.
Oh yeah, like they won 3 of their autumn internationals and they came very close to beating the All Blacks.
Yeah, they probably should have lost to
Yeah.
South Africans in
Oh,
their
true,
hands.
yeah.
What do you feel tactically both teams might try and exploit?
I think we're going to kick a lot. Well, maybe not a lot, but I think we're definitely going to try out their.
Fullback.
I have a feeling we're going to see Noel back there more often than not covering. I think that's going to be definitely a strategy. I think we're going to see a lot of moves bringing in our outside centre and the wings in as well. With Henshaw's coming in. I think we're definitely a lot of strike lines and line out. I think we're going to go for a lot of line outs. Put them a lot of pressure on line outs.
Well, Ireland's plan historically recently seems to me to be like a possession based sort of
Yes.
thing. How do England deny that possession?
Well, see, it used to be a struggle for them because they didn't pick a poacher, but now with Curry and a few other pack, they can actually contest on the ground. Even though, as a rule, they don't really contest too much on the ground. They like trying to drive over in numbers or trusting their defence to force a knock on or something. But it's going to be quite hard for them if we do have a possession game and our set piece does start turning the screw on them in the scrum and the line out. I think England will try to keep it in play as much as possible. They have a lot of strike runners there in that team.
If you look at our back row, I would say maybe there's no real weight there. Like there,
Yeah, standard will carry all day.
yeah.
The thing is that we have good carriers and the props.
Ryan as well will
Ryan,
carry all day. Furlong would be busting it up.
Aki and what you call him, fullback Henshaw can all carry as well.
True, yeah. Henshaw's big on the
And we have
carries.
a very good bench for carrying wise. Porter, Cronin,
Kilcane.
Kilcoyne, and Rue will add some beef trademark to the proceedings as well.
Is there any chance we might see a little bit more offloading from Ireland? Is Joe going to try and...
We don't
add that
offload.
to it?
We've offloaded very little. I think we'll see a lot of strike moves.
Yeah.
I think Henshaw we brought in a lot on different lines that Carney could run, or maybe more effective versions of them. I think we'll see that pass back, that line out to. I think we'll see something like that.
I don't feel this is a game to try and start shaking things up, like trying
No,
a more
but
offloading
you
style
do-
or whatever.
You're putting your final preparations onto the World Cup. Essentially, you're making sure that this system is the system you want.
Because I've seen it where basically we've been in this position before going into World Cups where you'd be worried that we peaked too soon. So I think it's good that he's continuing to mix it up and keep them on their toes.
That's why he should have went crazy and just did loads of random
Yeah,
stuff.
then we have no momentum going to the World Cup. I think
Yeah, and that's the thing. We drive it back up when we peak at the right time.
our problem hasn't been peaking the last couple of World Cups, if you ask me.
Well-
last World Cup was we lost 6 players or 5 players in a match, and we didn't have the depth to replace them. And we have depth now, but if we still lost 5 players against a fresh team, we'd still struggle.
Yeah.
Any team would. And the previous World Cup is we had our winning combination, and we changed it, and then we tried to run over Wales, and we couldn't.
I feel like
Ron O'Gara started that game.
Yeah, but no, like the 2 games that year we hammered good opposition was England and Australia, and we had Rennan and Sexton.
Yeah.
It was so simple to me, and Murray wasn't. Look, he's a good player, but he wasn't what was needed at the time, and he could turn into the great player he is today. But it just wasn't the thing.
I feel Stockdale might have a tough Six Nations. Because to me, he just can't keep going up. Like he has to start slipping at some point.
Yeah, well, he said that this year, and he's top try scorer.
I mean, I have him in my fantasy team. Don't get me wrong. Like,
Well, the thing is, a lot of those intercepts, they're not going to happen. Like, it's people. First of all, won't be throwing loopy passes near him.
yeah, true.
And second of all, some of them are luck. Like, it's good.
Rub it a green.
No, like you throw an intercept and you get it, but it's just unusual to get like 3 intercepts or 2 intercepts last 6
I think
Nations.
it was just 2. They were pretty pivotal though.
Yeah.
Was he like top try
No,
scorer
he won
last
against
Six
Italy as
Nations?
well, I
or-
think. He was.
Oh no, yeah, he did. Yeah, those intercepts.
One Italy, 1 Wales, 1 Scotland.
Scotland, yep.
So 3.
3.
And we had it was stats showing how much tries we had, and last year was a spike, and most of the spike was the intercepts.
Did I miss here, or did someone from the England camp or something come out and say Ireland play incredibly boring rugby?
Their
No,
defence coach.
Mitchell said they're going to try bore us, and he's basically trying to say, I think, that they're going to try to make us lose concentration. But people think, you don't really Ireland play a real boring style. But like
That's how I heard it second hand. I didn't actually hear him saying it. I just
they're
heard
trying to
someone.
bore the shit out of us. We have to keep on our game and keep
Well,
attention.
I was thinking about this, and I was thinking, if I wasn't an Irish fan, I would think watching Ireland matches is actually entertaining. I don't think we play a boring style.
Yeah, I think people see the possession game and the efficient nature and the lack of risk, and they just say boring. But I'm like,
I don't feel we play overly with a lack of risk. We kick the touch when it's on, and we take our penalties when it's on. We don't always take penalties or
I
whatever.
see they kick the letter off the ball, but it's not. It's
When you have the best box kicker in the world, you're going to exploit that. Like,
but even the stats say we basically don't kick too much, or even less than other teams.
it's just, I think we're so consistently good when we're in possession of the ball, good at maintaining that possession, that people just get frustrated by that. I don't think it's necessarily boring, and I don't think I would be bored by it if I wasn't an Irish
Yeah, it's
fan.
hard to say. I think people this board
Salt,
winning.
the salt.
It is like they'd probably prefer us if we were throwing the ball around like Scotland or something, but losing the big matches, or
Yeah,
maybe just winning some of them.
salty English. Has
Um,
Jones come out with anything controversial, has he?
I-
Or has he been respectful for once?
um,
The old
he
curmudgeon.
says no one's given us a chance outside the camp and stuff like that. It's like, well, whatever.
He's trying to get that underdog mentality. Does that even work for England, though? I feel like the English arrogance is what they need.
Yeah, but you
They
can't
don't-
figure out the shit kicked out of you.
Yeah, I suppose. It looks bad if you're being arrogant and then you go out and like ship a 30-0 loss or something, which I don't think is going to happen. But I kind of like that English arrogance. It gets me disliking them, which I always like, you know. I don't like the humble. I hated the Chris Robshaw days when it was like he's just so hard to hate. I want this Dylan Hartley type character where I can just get on the hate wagon and just.
The pantomime villain.
Yes, Robshaw was too hard to hate. I suppose Eddie Jones, you can hate on him a bit. It's good enough.
Be interesting now to see just outside the Irish game where the season goes for Jones. Like all his previous careers, he had two great first 2 years, and then he just collapses. Basically consistent over Japan, Brumbies. He's only assistant coach in South Africa. I don't think he's there that long. But his entire career, basically, it's been 2 years great, and then it collapsed.
And he's in his third year now, is he?
Last year was his third year when he lost. They came fifth in Six Nations, and
Ooh.
lost
So it's
the
redemption arc or bust,
yeah, it's
basically.
interesting to see. Will this be a bump back to previous standards, or is this just decline for England going into the World Cup?
Obviously, I want Ireland to win, but I don't want England to do badly in the Six Nations. In fact, I'd like them to do quite well, because
I'd like to see where they beat Wales, then lose the game, so they get out of it.
well, you're just looking for it to benefit us,
Yes.
but I'm looking in terms of north versus south, southern hemisphere sort of thing. I like when the north is strong. Was it the last World Cup where there were no northern hemisphere teams in the knockout stages?
In the semis, there was no
Yeah.
Northern.
Yeah, that's just embarrassing. We're good. We're better than that, like.
Yeah.
And
It's just like the way it lined up.
yeah, fuck that. I don't want it to happen again. Like, I'd be happy.
Scotland were very unlucky to not get the semis, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
Was this the Craig Joubert
Yeah.
running off the
God, I
field?
hate Chabert. What a ref.
Literally runs away.
Back to the game. I'm
Yeah,
going to call.
what's our final predictions?
I think it's going to be a brutal, tight match. But I think Ireland will have enough. I think Ireland will win by 8 points to 10 points or something like that. I think they'll deny English bonus point, or deny for most of the match. I don't see them getting a bonus point win unless England fall apart. Like unless it's like another game like last year.
All right, Dave.
Really hard to call. I would say the sensible thing to say would be Ireland win, England don't really turn up, just based on how they were last year. But and what Neil said about Eddie Jones's historic stuff. But yeah, like it could be a swing either way. I'd say there'd be no more than 5 points the difference in it. But I would nudge Ireland to just take it, home advantage and history from the last few years. So yeah, Rob.
Yeah, I'd agree with all that. It's going to be really close. Hopefully we can. I don't know. Part of me hopes that there's 20 minutes to go and we start picking them apart.
Yeah.
But we'll see how it goes.
And
Yeah.
I see some people saying that Ireland are getting too cocky and overconfident, but I don't think there's ever an English game at lands in a row the Ireland team wouldn't get up for. I don't think.
Who's getting cocky? Like I haven't met this person.
Just the general person. Like,
Just because we're good now, we're automatically cocky.
No, because we went over there and tore them apart in their home ground, and they were at home,
We beat the All Blacks.
and we beat Australia.
This is just a subversive Eddie Jones narrative.
It's interesting because normally these games are halfway through the Six Nations at the end, so you can have an idea how the teams are going.
The new bonus point system, I suppose, could come into it a bit. Has that decided the championship yet, or
No, because it's only been like two. It's been 2 Grand Slams. Last 2 games were Grand Slams.
I think so, yeah.
England and Ireland, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'd like to see the
They won
bonus.
2 Grand Slams in a row? No, they won 2 Six Nations in a row.
I would like to see the bonus point thing come into it a bit.
Yeah.
If Italy starts stepping up and actually competing, then the bonus point thing will become a lot more relevant, I feel, because it won't be all about how many points you put past Italy or whatever. You know,
Yeah.
if they can take a game or two off
Unless you get
someone.
them first up and it's really hard and you only get 3 tries and everyone else hammers them for the rest of the year.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that sort of writes it off then, and it becomes less about permutations and more about. I want to see Italy just
Yeah, do well.
actually be a threat and turn up for